Hey, how are you doing today?
Good.
Mason.
Hi. Are you our new teacher?
Sure.
Remember so?
Hey, Mason. Good.
Hello. Hello, sir.
Oh, this is the original welcome party. Oh, you guys are the punks selling
No,
out.
I wasn't.
We're just gonna get you guys all high and like, we're gonna jump the fence and go see what's going on over here.
Because someone was wrong with my kid.
Yeah, no, you guys can regulate, dude. That's good. If you're not regulating, it's like anybody's just gonna harvest your stuff, right?
Yeah. Here.
Yeah.
Here's the one that asked you.
I'm the coolest to this. Drop.
Somebody asked.
That's a compliment, really.
Yeah. Are you like one of our teachers today?
Yeah, I'm a friend of Drake's. But I'm a farmer and do some different stuff. So.
Mr. Jake, this Friday we're going on a field trip to like Sharky's farm.
Yeah. Right on. Handshake and all.
I love you.
Yeah.
This is everybody girl. Yeah. Those dead. Wait, no, it's you. I love you. Oh God! We thought he was running in the garden earlier today.
Oh, you guys are
I did harvest some stuff.
Are we able to control ourselves?
Yeah.
So how do we sit when we come in? Do we dig up our friends?
It's spicy.
So how can we lift each other up?
Whoa!
Quentin, are you going to be able to stand up, and Danny, are you going to be able to help each other?
Daddy, get off my seat. Quentin, get off my seat. I'll leave it. It's not easy here. Go.
Quentin,
Okay, Sarah. Break. Wow. What?
Never said about it.
That's not good. Here's what it's not.
I don't think the bell's ringing today.
Right.
Let's see.
But it's testing today, so it's not bell.
Let's go like Daddy, stop rubbing me.
Quentin, you can sit at the back.
Who's rubbing me?
I know, but
Oh my God.
So wait one more minute for everyone to get in here.
I'm gonna be dehydrated. Not sick. Here. Let's sit. Oh, please. Okay. Morning. Who do that? You got that? Did Nathan do that?
So we'll get into that.
Who makes it?
So hang on. So you guys ready? Please.
Go ahead and keep some. Where is your worker? I love you. Whoa!
You leave.
Well, can I take you back? I don't know, I'm gonna be a distraction.
Yeah, we'll use your breathing techniques and group try to help
Yeah, help me.
where it is to stand. That way if he starts talking to you, just don't answer him.
Ignore it. What? Be better. Oh!
Can you go see the vice principal? She's waiting for you. So, we're all nice, calm down. But our seats so that we can all settle in with our groups. So we're going to start with some quiet time, do some teaching reading. We'll go through our mood. And then today we have a special lesson here for you guys, and we'll get into that. And then it's kind of rainy outside, but hopefully we'll have some time to go love our garden, do some hawaiian. So let's settle ourselves. Anything in our hands, let's put it down. So sit up straight so you can breathe easy. Close your eyes and rest a little bit. So as you're relaxing in, I'm going to read to you a little bit from the teaching. And this is always, as always, the most pertinent lesson to us today, which is the most important for us. Today's lesson is wind over earth. It's Quan, or contemplation. So by concentrating on the higher laws, you acquire the power that underlies them. The Chinese word Quan can either mean contemplation or setting the example, depending on how it's pronounced. This hexagram incorporates both of those meanings, for what it teaches us is to be an example for others through our own contemplation of proper principles. The fundamental fact of consciousness is that we take on the attributes and energy of that upon which we focus our attention. In studying and sitting quietly about the I Ching, we are concentrating on the underlying principles that govern the universe. Through the contemplation of the wisdom of such principles as independence, detachment, modesty, acceptance, and tolerance, we begin to embody them in our lives and fully incorporate our quiet time. Their power informs our our actions and practices, and we begin to have great influence as a result. This hexagram comes to indicate that you need to make a self-correction and return to the contemplation of proper principles. By sacrificing the harsh judgments of your ego and asking the sage for guidance, you free yourself from the hindering influences and increase your merit, and thereby your ability to have influence. It is in the quiet contemplation of what is correct that we become detached from anxious emotions and about situations that face us. This detachment gives us the balance and calm to choose solutions which are in accordance with the higher laws. In doing so, we gain the aid of the creative in everything we do, and others are drawn to this strength. Truly, we gain the ability to lead through the contemplation of the principles of our leader, the garden. So as we enjoy this quiet time and we reflect on how we're always trying to be the best example, right? It starts from within us and it grows out on the inside. So let's take the next 15 seconds to really relax. Let your brain kind of feel heavy. Let your eyes kind of roll back and just relax. So today's moon, we're moving out of the full moon phase and we're moving into our medicine phases. So today's moon is our La'au Pukahi. And as we remember, the Lao from our song up here, Lao means so leaves, right? And so La'au is the plant medicine, and Pukahi meaning it's the first day of our plant medicine. So today, if you woke up early in the morning, you would see the moon above Mauna Kea just as the sun is rising over the ocean. And for the next few mornings, the moon will be up in the sky, and that draws all the energy into the plants, which is why this is a good day for gathering plant medicine. So what I wanted to do just briefly here is to introduce you guys to composting. And I know we may have talked about it a little bit before, but as part of our plant medicine and part of our feeding our trees and our fungus, we're going to start utilizing the food that the cafeteria would have otherwise thrown this away or fed it to some pigs, and we're going to use it here to build compost in our gardens.
Cafeteria?
Yep.
Yeah.
And so we'll get more in detail into composting next week when we cover the carbon cycle, because that will teach us how this breaks down and how it enters into our plants in our garden. So what we're going to do today before, as we transition outside, is one group will work with me to turn this stuff here to mix it with some wood chips to start our compost pile outside. So I just wanted to make you guys aware that we're going to start composting, and hopefully every day we'll have a box of food this big that we'll be able to mix in and turn that into a nutrient for our garden. So you guys see this beautiful thing on our board?
Yes.
So I've invited Mason to come here today to explain to us what this is all about.
Ew.
Ew, right?
Thanks, guys. Is your favorite class or what?
Sorry. Yeah.
So, anybody know what's going on here? In the back, so you can go first.
All the different types of plants you want to involved in.
Yeah, that's good.
They're the types of plants that grow on that type of level, or they're all the different types of plants we have in our garden.
Yeah.
It's Agroforestry in Hawaii. It's like a forest.
Yeah. Do you have something?
It's like all the Hawaiians have, they have the people who take care of the ocean, the people who take care of the little ones, the people who don't.
So yeah, it's a good representation of the middle kind of mountain community in the Agroforestry. Anybody else? Awesome. So, you guys have any experience with any of these plants listed here? Can everybody read the names in black?
Well, I can look, yeah.
So, has anybody ever grown and harvested any of these plants?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, what we have basically this is like a Hawaiian agroforestry system. So the basic representation is the mountain. So up here would be all our forest trees like our koa and okia and everything and such. So this is more concentration on food plants, what you can eat. Also in there, does everybody know what the okia is?
Yeah.
You know what it is?
Yeah.
What is it in English?
It's the molten apple.
Mountain apple, yeah, those are good too, yeah. And the challah, does anybody know you can eat challah?
Yeah.
You can eat they look like candy corns. They're not really that ideal, but it's a good snack. Like if you're ever hiking the Polo Blue and they're all fruiting, it's a nice little snack on them. So, where do you guys notice the challah growing?
From sideways.
Yeah, it's got the side roots. Where do you notice that it's planted? Where is the challah still growing that the Hawaiians have planted before this generation?
It's growing on kind of like a hill or something steep.
Yeah, steep slope. So on our valleys we have really steep slopes. In the challah, the aerial roots actually was used. We all know that it made the challah baskets and mats and everything like that. Also, is actually used for erosion control. So those aerial roots can go into the steep hillsides and actually hold it together. Why is this important? Why would the Hawaiians plant the sides of the valleys with the challah?
So the valley will get bigger and it doesn't roll.
Yeah.
Because there are houses or reinforcement at the bottom of the valley and
Yeah, they don't want a big landslide. That would be yeah, it would crush their houses, especially little ground shacks. So what I do is I do climate change adaptation. So that's kind of my field of work. And erosion control is pretty much the most important aspect of that. And so we see the erosion control, how this can help our steep banks. How does our forest over here act for erosion control? Anybody? So when the forest is growing, what is it constantly dropping?
like water.
Leaves, fruits, leaves. Awesome. So what is that called?
Dropping
Mulch.
mulch.
Yeah.
Mulch.
Mulch, the most important aspect of an organic garden, right? So what are the two main things that mulch does?
We have to like take off the leaves and grow new ones.
Yes.
Covers the ground.
Covers the ground. Most important.
Makes better soil.
Makes better soil. It breaks down just like a compost.
It helps feed the tree.
Helps feed the trees. So the mulch is the food of the microorganisms of our. Does anybody know the most important microorganism in the forest? Looks like a little web, little white web. What is our IMOs built of?
Milk.
It's so. I've seen it on wood chips.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wait, one at a time.
Lab. Is it lab?
Not exactly.
I
So the IMO is roots as a. What do we have in the greenhouse right now? A bunch of little mushrooms, right?
Yeah.
So these IMOs and this mycelium actually forms a web under the forest, and that actually holds the soil together and holds water in. So say if we have a storm and a heavy rain, all of this is going to be held together by our trees, by the roots, and by that mulch. Now the same thing, if we have tons of sun and no rain for weeks, and a huge drought, what's that mulch holding underneath?
Water.
Water, exactly. So water is the most important thing in farming, right next to mulch. So here we have our kukui tree. Does anybody know what the Hawaiians use kukui for?
Like they use their oil to start fires.
Yeah, kukui nuts really important. Anybody else? So the kukui is one of our most important sources of mulch. So the kukui is actually the leaves of this tree, some of the banana, some of our sugarcane, the cocoa. This is actually brought in to mulch crops like hollow and walla, sweet potatoes and taro. So say if this was a dry land, this was somewhere where there's not a stream, it's more dry land. This area would all be mulched with the leaves of most of these plants. Everybody understand?
Yeah.
Even the coconut, you know. So bamboo, that's actually really good. So what's the Hawaiian name for bamboo? Ohe. Yeah. So the Hawaiian ohe. Yeah, it's actually got the longest nodes of almost any bamboo in the world. I think. And yeah, so the bamboo is actually really crucial. I'm glad you brought that up because in the agroforestry system, that's not only important for erosion control, but it's important for mulch, and it's important for making usable instruments. So it's actually, if you look at a culture, one of the main things that makes up a culture is how you feed yourself. That's why we call it agriculture, because our culture is built around how we feed ourselves. So in Hawaii, you feed yourselves with animals, with fish, and with your food plants. So this system is basically self-functioning. You guys know what uhi is? So uhi's the yam, and it's actually grown underground, and it grows up a vine like a lilikoi. And so you have to dig this up and harvest it. This was a pretty actually popular food in old Hawaii and most of Polynesia and Melanesia, so the South Pacific, Polynesian islands. Uhi's a really good yam. Actually, maybe Drake can plant one in the garden for you guys sometime. And it was usually put up a host tree, so the uhi would be planted underground. The vine would be guided up by, say, a bamboo pole on the edge of the canopy, and it would grow up over the tree. So, in holding water and shade and everything in this whole forest system, if we wanted to add anything in today, if we could add one plant in for benefiting the soil, what would you guys add?
Mulch.
A plant for the soil. So maybe a mulch riding plant would be good. What do you guys think? We got the kukui leaves, the ulu leaves, the coconut, the banana, which a banana is like a well above ground. Banana holds so much water. We got the sugarcane leaves, which is like a lot of sugar also, which really feeds those IMOs. What do you think we could add in here? Maybe from the garden here that would help it out.
Ooh, sugar cane.
That's not here yet.
Oh,
What's that? Chai? Chai is a good one.
a little mango.
We love mango tree.
Yeah, we do.
Mangoes are good.
Yeah, but
Mango is
mango-
actually one of the first crops introduced in Hawaii
Some
after
people
Western
call it the
Contact.
king fruit.
What's that?
Some people call it the king fruit.
Yeah.
Even mango seedlings. I think this is the queen fruit or something like that.
So this is a pretty good basic representation of old Hawaii, right?
Oh. Yeah, tea.
Tea leaves.
We have that.
That's the most important plant that's not in here. So tea leaves,
It's tea. Tea. It's called tea.
Tea. yeah,
K-I.
Ki. So tea leaves, what are they used for?
Nalo.
Wait, we're gonna raise our hands first.
We can use their leaves to mulch the ground.
Exactly.
You make that skirt thing out of them.
Yes.
Make nalo.
Yeah. So it's a good food source. Tea leaf is actually in the agave family. It's a really sweet leaf.
Ale.
Yeah, you can make tea leaf leis, which is the most important. So tea leaves are actually probably will be planted all in here, right?
So tea leaf is part frozen and part fruit.
We're gonna raise our hands. So this is all beautiful. This is how we used to do it. And how do we do it today?
A bunch of buildings and trees and stuff.
Whoa, yeah. So anything else?
Fertilizer.
Fertilizer.
They have, most companies have, when they grow their stuff, they have it all in rows
Yeah,
and stuff, and they don't have any development.
yeah. Anybody else? So right now we have an agroforestry garden. All the mulch providing water and nutrient sources between crops here. We have erosion control on the hillsides. We have our trees. All these roots holding together. Let's say if there's a stream here, the stream, and say this is a lowy with our wall on the bank and some sugarcane on that bank, and then come down, and this water is going to the ocean. Now, right now, with this system, the water isn't actually going down like this. The water is coming up from our, what is this called up here?
Mountain!
What is the mountain that collects the water called?
Oh,
River!
summit.
The summit is the top. What is this area called that collects the water that runs in the rivers? Anybody?
A stream.
In the stream, what produces from the stream?
Rain.
Rain. So this area is called our watershed.
Oh,
So
you said that earlier.
Should remember it, huh? So, feel free to take notes, guys. So the water's actually not really running down here. The water's collecting in our watershed. So the trees in our mountains collecting our clouds and our water, bringing it down the watershed. The water is actually getting held in all of this mulch, held in these roots, and then actually going down. And so most of the water is actually underground, at sea level. What's this called down here?
Oh shit.
Under the mountain. Same level as the ocean.
The bowl where the water collects.
Anybody know the name for it?
They crack the bowl and roll it.
So this is called the water table. So up here we have the watershed, where we collect the water.
We learned about that in Hawaii studies.
Down here we have the water table. So this is clean water that's collected by the roots of trees and the mulch. And then we have and so this water goes underground, especially like on the Kona side, it goes underground and then it runs out into the ocean through the rocks. And we have the water from up the mountain running through the streams. So this water is actually going down. All the nutrients is staying in this area. All the nutrients in the forest, everything. Really high nutrient density is all staying in this area. All these nutrients are staying in this area. So we have really clean water going down our stream in the Hawaiian Agroforestry system, aqua system, and there's really good water going into our water table. This is where all the water goes, and it's all clean. So we were talking about earlier what we're doing today. Anybody want to help me draw? Any good artists?
I want to help.
Okay, you're gonna help. Coming up.
Sometimes.
Yeah, one at a time. So with this black pen, I want you to tear us off when you erase this. And I want you to make this mountain into terraces and put houses there. Yeah. You can leave the mountain up top, but yeah, erase all that. That's perfect. Yeah, erase this guy too. So let me just redraw the basic line. So the mountain used to go like that, right? So now you can just terrace it off and put a bunch of houses. Anybody else want to draw? You help? And you want to help? Oh, sorry, I've got some credit. Sorry, guys. So,
What?
I want you to erase our Lowy
Oh my god.
and our wallet. And I want you to just draw a stream with nothing drawing in it. Okay? You just remove that. Have it come all the way. Nice. So we have some houses there. And then, so I want you to erase. Can I get that answer? So I want you to erase our agroforestry system, and I want you to put a modern day conventional farm there.
Duck school.
Yeah, just erase it.
Wait 1 second. Alright, go for it.
No, a farm. So like a traditional, like the kind of farm you see, like
Mine.
grow crops. You know, just how we're doing it today. When you look at the package, the store you're buying the food, how that stuff's grown.
Travis, remember how this family was?
Yeah, that's Aztec.
So,
We're still playing with the airplane. What are you doing here? This. Who's that?
Good job, guys. So we're gonna stop talking and come back to the group now. So everybody get it? What do we have here?
A house in the garden.
This is like say like a barn with a modern day farm. Now this farm actually looks really nice. This is the kind of farm we should be doing. We have a bunch of houses over here. So in our houses we have streets, right? For our cars. We have our cars driving on the streets. We have our houses, with our gutters, and all of this goes in their pipes. What do you guys have to say?
That's
Something
a
about
mess.
this? What are you saying?
Huh?
What are you saying?
The pipes?
So what's going on right here?
Yeah, there's a place for where the water comes down.
Yeah, so this is coming from the street. What's in this water, by the way, in the street?
It has
Ocean water?
This isn't ocean water.
Car oils.
Car oil,
Weeds.
weeds coming in there.
Rainwater.
Yeah. So this is our rainwater, and it's collecting everything from us. Now what's underneath our houses?
Cement.
You guys know what this is? Underground?
The
Scissor.
Yeah, this is where your washing machine,
toilet.
your poop, that's where it goes.
I thought it was just a sewer.
Yeah, no,
Depending, sometimes in bigger developments, this would instead go to a little processing facility, and then it would go to the ocean. And this is like a big filter pretty much. So it depends. Like in Hilo, you guys have sewers because it's too big of a city, and Kona, most of the country is this. So then we develop the whole area. We have all our water coming down. Yeah.
Didn't like before, we never have toilets, they have to dig a hole in the ground and do and teach that.
Yeah.
Isn't that better than what we have now?
So what we call human waste. So what do we call animal waste? Manure.
Manure.
So manure, animal manure isn't a bad thing. What does it do for the plants?
You can
It helps it grow because
Go.
it helps it grow because the animals don't eat all the bad things that we eat.
So it's a natural system.
Yeah.
what we eat, they can die.
Duck. It's good for duck feeders because they take the manure and they roll it to a book and they lay their eggs inside.
Yeah, that is a natural system. So in the natural system, manure is not bad. In the natural system for humans, manure is not actually that bad. So what we have going on here, remember before all of our water was coming down, was collecting in the forest and was going into the water table. Now the water is coming, collecting on the houses, and the streets, and going right here. And is this water clean like the water before?
No.
So now we got dirty water, so let's make it a little,
Brown.
got a little bit of oil and some other stuff in it. Now, in this area, what water is going down to the water table? Anybody?
Dirty water.
Yeah, if we have this kind of septic system, that's going down our water table. By the way, all the water you drink is from here.
At our house or septic system, the dirt above it just collapsed, and if you rode into it, the septic system would have been crushed and your car would have been full of
That would have been gross, yeah.
Yeah, but then they repaired our septic system.
That always helps. So now we have less water coming into our water table, and the water that is going in. What's up, guys? So right now what we're doing is we're teaching each other. So if we have something to say, we're going to say it to the whole class, right? You raise your hand and say it to the whole class.
Isn't that place where they now have the place in Kilcow where they now have their underwater robots moving in the big city? Isn't
I haven't heard
where
about that.
You know the big, when you go into Kilcow, there's like a big
I'm actually just visiting from Hawaii.
pool, and they say that like they used to have our waste going there, and they cleaned the oceans there, and now they have underwater robots going.
Whoa. So, anybody ever flown from Oahu?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, when you fly from Oahu, you see now the valleys are all houses going all the way up.
Yeah.
So, those houses used to be an agroforestry system. The water was collected, clean water, and either went into the stream as clean water, or went into the underground reservoir. Now, all that water is hitting cement and rooftops, it's going into gutters, and it's just washing right into the ocean as dirty water. So, someplace in Oahu with much bigger development on a smaller island, their water table has much less water, and the water is very dirty in it. So this is an example of how a natural system works and how our effects in the natural system work. So this is. Does anybody have any questions on this before we move on?
No.
You guys all understand? So we got less water going into our water table, more water going into our ocean, and the water is dirty in both spots. So what happens? Where does this water end up from our gutters? Where does all this go? In the ocean. So in the ocean, what's our most beautiful, like, sacred treasure in the ocean?
Gold.
Gold. It looks golden. Reefs. Coral reefs are what, like, fed and nourished the Hawaiian people for thousands of years. Now, not just from the coral reef's perspective, they weren't polluted, the fish weren't overfished, we didn't have boats crushing them, we didn't have big machines building harbors and destroying them. So right now, like example, where I came from, Hawaii, we have the fastest dying coral reefs in the world. Now, a coral reef takes hundreds of years to grow. There's corals on all these islands that are thousands of years old, slowly growing on top of each other. And what happens, this oil and these nutrients, there's not very much nutrients in the ocean. When you have all these nutrients coming down and all this mud coming down, when the bulldozers made this, when they sprayed Roundup on the side of this highway and all that dirt washed down, all of this erosion, all of this nutrients, that actually sits on coral reefs and makes algae grow on top of them. When the algae grows on top, they die. So we've lost most of our coral reefs in Hawaii already. And so it's really important. Those coral reefs are the entire system for our ocean. So without those, there isn't any more fish. So that's kind of a little important factor in there. You have a question, Dave?
Yeah, maybe we can take the next 5 minutes and explain the solution for.
Yeah,
I'm
totally. We got. Yeah, what's up?
What's so funny?
It's not really funny. So, same thing. If our farms aren't mulched and are just. Do you guys understand what a conventional farm looks like?
Yes.
All of these nutrients
Go
are going straight into the ocean, and the rest, like the sugarcane industry, the pineapple industry, all of that poison down into our ocean and down into our watershed. So actually, like this island, when there's been heavy droughts and we're taking too much water from our water table, we're actually pulling back up pollution from that agriculture. So it's still there and it's always going to be there. Question?
What schools have pesticides for?
Oh, they are?
Those what?
Whew, that's heavy. Yeah, so all this poison, all the chemicals, everything, killing our reefs, and also poisoning us when we bring that water back up. So we're actually drinking poison from agriculture that was done before our generation. Question?
Wait, how is pineapple and sugarcane poison?
So those are two great plants and they taste great. They make sugar, which is like, who doesn't like sugar? But the way they're grown is crazy poison. So instead of being fed with mulch, with IMOs, with natural fertilizers, we're fed with a chemical that's made basically from oil, and that chemical is a super fertilizer, so it makes the plants grow really fast. But because there's no mulch or anything to hold that together, when we have heavy rains, that same fertilizer washes into our ocean and our watershed and the plant goes down into our water table. And that fertilizer is what creates the high levels of nutrients in the ocean, causing algae to grow on our reefs, etc. Use poison along with that. Yeah.
So fertilizer makes plants go stronger and like more bigger and stuff faster.
Like steroids.
Exactly. Actually, it's not a healthy growth. There's not a lot of nutrients. It's kind of an experiment. We won't elaborate too much into it, but so I'm pretty much up here. So I just want to ask you guys, what would you do? So we saw our old system, right? And we see our new system that we have today. Anybody want to come up here and make some solutions? Solution?
You could at least put a filter so when it goes down into the ocean, it doesn't really create.
Perfect. Come up here and make a filter.
Ooh.
So what kind of plant's a good filter? What's our best filter plant? It's planted in this garden recently by you guys.
The special type of grass.
Special type of grass.
That goes on top of the ocean. Vetiver? Vetiver!
Yeah, so vetiver, you want to plant some vetiver to keep this nutrients from going into our stream? Yeah. Let's keep that. What's another solution?
Getting pesticides, spares, and
Cool, so you want to compost this garden and mulch it and get rid of these spares? Come up here and draw that for us.
Fixing your garden.
Let's make that a nice garden. Even nicer than Jake's. Wait. We're still working as a group, so if we have something to say, we're going to say it to the whole class, right? Because we're teaching each other right now.
Putting on wood chips and plants.
Yeah, let's get some wood chips over here, everywhere.
Not on the planet.
Okay,
Around it.
could you inoculate them with iron loads while you're doing that? How about I see some good farming solutions. How about solutions for our town over here?
Have more better
That's
and have areas where the water will just go into the ground and emissions.
good idea. Good idea. Can you try to divert some of this water into some sort of like plant-based filter or some sort of forestry system? Yeah.
Don't use so much cars.
Yeah, totally. Hilo's the best place to ride your bike ever.
Well, I'm just driving the road.
Or you have to drive.
I'm going to.
So, any other solutions on this? Yeah. This looks good. Mary, you have a solution for us?
You didn't what?
Yeah.
Well, you flew on your first
I came in yesterday.
special?
Yeah. Well, I was visiting Drake because Drake's actually one of my teachers from like 10 years ago. So I came to learn a little bit more from Drake. Wait, one at a time.
That place is known for the red dirt.
Yep. There's a lot of red there in Hawaii.
You skate?
Yeah.
You
Red dirt roads.
I like downhill skating. I was bombing also. And Bert. This looks good.
very different. So water tables.
So
What?
we're gonna take. We got time.
15 minutes
Yeah, we
left.
got 15 minutes left of class, so if we're, you guys enjoying
No.
So we can go outside if you guys want to go outside.
Yeah, walk outside. Are you gonna be here tomorrow?
No.
You gonna go
I have a friend who's tomorrow.
When are you gonna come back?
I don't know.
Jake, you better know where it
Guaranteed. So bad. Give me an invite, Marco.
No.
Oh, I'm not gonna
do if you come Thursday.
Yeah, my uncle.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Invite the whole man.
you guys. So any other questions or solutions on how we're living today and our old system to new system to
Right horses don't make cars. Right horses instead of
Or
riding
just
cars.
using an electrical car.
Wait, we're still as a group, right? So we talked, we're gonna share with the whole class.
Ride bikes and houses that people don't use, destroy like make a big farm.
Great.
Right horses instead of cars.
Can I draw
That's a good solution for fires. Anything else?
Use a solar car or electrical car, and the electricity that's from our houses could be used.
And
Made out of solar panels.
I have a solution.
What's your solution?
So one, yes,
Stop and bad trees.
yeah.
How do you say
Yeah.
It's like trees are like to be cut down.
What about invasive trees?
Well,
Yeah.
they're doing their job. It's better than having nothing, right?
True.
So a lot of this land was bulldozed and poisoned. So having anything growing is better than nothing growing. So
We're looking at me now.
if you're cutting down invasive trees, cut them down to replant. Anything else? So one of my favorite solutions is to grow something yourself, whether it's a fruit tree or bananas or like a strawberry bush.
If trees was very mango tree.
So I'm gonna give you guys some homework. Are you ready for this?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Cool. So your homework is to just think of one thing you'd like to grow at your house and where you'd plant it. That's your
Bananas.
homework. You don't have to tell anybody. So that's your
seed.
homework.
Mango seed.
So you think, oh, I want a mango steam tree. You look at your backyard and you're
Strawberry
like, that would be
tree.
a good
I mean
spot.
strawberry.
You have to like draw out your house.
Strawberry.
Yeah, so wait, why aren't we sharing with the class when we're talking? So you guys think about one thing you would grow and where you plant in your backyard, and you can report in the break tomorrow.
Okay. You.
Cool. We're
You.
go outside.
Okay, so before we go, I have two things I want to add to this. One is a schoolroom here, but it's outdoors. You know, this is a full house.
It's a.
And one thing we can do here to improve our thing is we can teach each other, right? So we
Yeah.
can teach each other and be at school. Another thing I was thinking is that we can go outside to our parks and we can have Napo play, and while he's playing music, we can plant food.
Yeah.
And so like
yeah.
concerts and plant food as we're dancing, and
Free
so
concerts.
I would draw that on here, but
That sounds better than school, huh?
I'll just put a happy face.
Okay, thanks guys.
So
You're
So yeah, so on this group, you guys got what we're doing today?
Yep.
Okay, so you guys just this group here, you guys before you head out, can you work with Miss Mary if she has some things to plan with you, and then you guys can go work on it. And then you here's so what I want to do with you guys is let's make our let's make our compost pile, and then we can go work on your project.
Yeah.
So what I need to make that compost pile is half the barrel of wood chips. And maybe someone else to carry this out.